Hello everyone, welcome to Advanced Knowledge Systems and a warm welcome to AKS IAS Academy. About me, I am Sandeep Bhushan Tumala and I take up the Hindu daily newspaper analysis, and the DNA would be of today's, that is of 25th March 2021, and throughout my session I would be emphasizing on the keywords and the key phrases from the Hindu newspaper, which wherein we will identify the factual, analytical and conceptual questions which are crucial for UPSC prelims perspective. And also, while you imbibe the keywords and the key phrases in your answer writing for the mains examination, your answers would be precise and concise, and thereby you would score higher marks in the mains examination. So this session at AKS IAS Academy Daily News Analysis will certainly help you to crack both prelims and mains of 2021. And before we get into the DNA of the newspaper, we would look at the quote of the day, and the quote of the day says that our greatest weakness lies in giving up. So do not give up. Make sure that you are striving for your short term and long term goals and have success. So do not give up, and the greatest weakness lies in giving up. And now we'll get into the DNA of the newspaper, and here we would be focusing on the bill which has been approved in the Rajya Sabha, and this bill empowers the Delhi Lieutenant Governor, and the bill passed by the Rajya Sabha is the bill that is called as Government of National Capital Territory of Delhi Amendment Bill, and this bill will certainly empower the Lieutenant Governor in the Delhi. And this bill has been taken up by adopting the motion, that is during the division of votes it has been adopted for the bill to be passed up, and while the division of votes have taken place, it was 83 members have voted in favor and 45 members have voted against the adopting the motion for the bill, that is the Government of National Capital Territory of Delhi Amendment Bill, which certainly will empower the Lieutenant Governor in Delhi. And the bill states that the government in the National Capital Territory of Delhi means the Lieutenant Governor. This statement clearly defines that what could be the power or what could be the scenario by the elected representative government in the Delhi Assembly, and what does the bill which has been passed, that is the Government of National Capital Territory of Delhi Amendment Bill 2021, which empowers the Lieutenant Governor, and the bill categorically states that the government in the National Capital Territory of Delhi means the Lieutenant Governor, and the legislation says that the Lieutenant Governor is necessarily granted an opportunity while or to give his or her opinion before any decision taken by the Council of Ministers, that is by the elected representatives of the Delhi Assembly, and before that the decision of or the opinion of the Lieutenant Governor before the decision which is taken by the Council of Ministers is certainly very crucial, or it is very important before the Council of Ministers decision is implemented. So this is a new bill which now certainly empowers the Lieutenant Governor, and there are critics that it curtails the powers of the elected representative or the elected government of the Delhi Assembly. And there is another news that Justice N.V. Ramana is all set to take over as the 48th Chief Justice of India. And in regards to this, the acting or now the Chief Justice of India, Shirete Bobde, has recommended to the government the name of Justice N.V. Ramana, who is the senior most judge of the Supreme Court, for the next top judge, or else as the next top judge, that is as the Chief Justice of India. The name has been recommended by the Chief Justice of India, Shirete Bobde, to the government, and Justice Ramana is now all set to take over as the 48th Chief Justice of India from April 24, 2021. and the Chief Justice of India, that is Sharath Bobde, is retiring on April 23rd, 2021. And in turn, there is a possibility, or there is all set for Justice N.V. Ramana to take over as the 40th Chief Justice of India from April 24th, and he will be the Chief Justice of India till August 26, 2022. So therefore, the Chief Justice of India Sharath Bobde has put forth his recommendation as the part of the Supreme Court Collegium that the name which has been recommended is Justice N.V. Ramana to the government. And we also have some issue which is tagged to N.V. Ramana, Justice N.V. Ramana, and also the Chief Minister of Andhra Pradesh, Y.S. Jagan Mohan Reddy. So we will look at what is the tug of war between Justice N.V. Ramana and the Andhra Pradesh Chief Minister, Y.S. Jagan Mohan Reddy, because here we have seen that the Andhra Pradesh Chief Minister, Y.S. Jagan Mohan Reddy, on October 6, 2020, has complained to the Chief Justice of India, that is Sharath Bobde, that Justice N.V. Ramana should be dismissed because he has been in influencing the Andhra Pradesh High Court judiciary, and he has been in influencing the High Court judiciary to de-establish his government, that is Y.S. Jagan Mohan Reddy's government. So this is the complaint which has been raised against Justice N.V. Ramana to the Supreme Court or to the Chief Justice of India, Sharath Bobde. But the recommendation which was, or the name which was recommended by the now Chief Justice of India, Sharath Bobde, for the name of Justice N.V. Ramana to the Government of India has been followed. The recommendation has been followed by the publication of short statement. So just after the publication of the short statement of the complaint which was filed by the Andhra Pradesh Chief Minister Y.S. Jagan Mohan Reddy on October 6, 2021 was dismissed, which was a complaint raised against Justice N.V. Ramana, was dismissed under an in-house procedure. So this is a keyword. So under which procedure the complaint which was raised by the Andhra Pradesh Chief Minister Y.S. Jagan Mohan Reddy with the Chief Justice of India Sharath Bobde was dismissed. So it was dismissed under an in-house procedure after due consideration. And the court said that all the matters which have been dealt under the in-house procedure should be strictly confidential in nature, and they are not liable to be made public. So this is what the court has spoken about the publication of short statement, and thereby the October 6 complaint raised by the Chief Minister of Andhra Pradesh Y.S. Jagan Mohan Reddy was dismissed through a process called as in-house procedure, and the court very categorically says that all the matter which was discussed or dealt during the in-house procedure should be kept strictly confidential in nature, and they are not liable to be made public. And Mr. Reddy, that is Andhra Pradesh Chief Minister Y.S. Jagan Mohan Reddy, has complained about Justice N.V. Ramana to the Chief Justice of India on October 6, saying that Justice N.V. Ramana was influencing the Andhra Pradesh High Court judiciary so that he would de-establish his government. So we have seen that the Andhra Pradesh government or the Chief Minister of Andhra Pradesh has raised a concern and complaint against the against the Justice N.V. Ramana to the Chief Justice of India. And not only that, we have seen that the Andhra Pradesh government, that is the Chief Minister of Andhra Pradesh Y.S. Jagan Mohan Reddy, has also had kind of skirmishes even with the State Election Commission or State Chief Election Commission. So definitely this is now as per the polity that the 48th Chief Justice of India is set to take over by Justice N.V. Ramana, and he would have his service till August 26, 2022. 2, and the complaint was sent shortly to a bench led by Justice Ramna. And why? Now we will look at why, what was the need for the Andhra Pradesh Chief Minister Y.S. Jagannath Reddy to go ahead with or filing a complaint with the Chief Justice of India, because the Andhra Pradesh Chief Minister Y.S. Jagannath Reddy has filed a complaint just shortly before Justice Ramana started hearing and fast tracking the criminal cases which were against ministers, legislators, and various politicians which were pending in the trial courts across the country. Please do understand, he was taking up, or he started hearing and fast tracking the criminal cases which were pending in the trial courts across the country against the ministers, legislatures, and the politicians. And thereby, once this initiative has been taken up by the Justice N.V. Ramana against or fast tracking and hearing the criminal cases, then we could see that the Chief Minister of Andhra Pradesh, Y.S. Jagannath Reddy, has complained against him that he was trying to de-establish the or his government. And in an affidavit which was filed with the election or during the election, that is during the election nomination papers in 2019, Y.S. Jagannath Reddy has declared that there were 31 criminal cases which are pending against him in the CBI, in the Enforcement Directorate, and with different police stations in the state of Andhra Pradesh and Telangana. So this is very clear that there is a skirmish or tug of war between the Chief Minister of Andhra Pradesh and Justice N.V. Ramana. But the point what we would be focusing is, for polity perspective UPSC, that Justice N.V. Ramana is set to take over as the 40th Chief Justice. And this is for the background which we have taken, that what is that the complaint which is against or which has been filed by the Andhra Pradesh Chief Minister Y.S. Jagannath Reddy on October 6th, complaining that Justice Ramana was influencing the Andhra Pradesh High Court judiciary to de-establish his government. So this is the conceptual understanding. For that we have got into the mode of analyzing the complaint and how it has been dismissed by the in-house procedure. And the court has categorically said that all the matters which are dealt under the in-house procedure has to be kept confidential in nature and they are not liable to make public. And there is another news which talks about the misuse of the electoral bonds. And now the Supreme Court has raised a concern over the misuse of electoral bonds, and it has said that political parties, there is a possibility that the political parties across the country or in India could misuse crores of rupees which they received as donation through the electoral bonds, and this money can be misused for banking on violent protest, and also they can be used for terror. So this is the concern which has been flagged by the Supreme Court on March 24, 2021 on the misuse of electoral bonds. And in turn, the Supreme Court has asked the government whether there is any control mechanism that the donations which are through the electoral bonds were used by the political parties. So here the court is certainly asking the government, that is the central government or the union government, whether there is any control over the donation, that they would not be misused, or there is a probability that the amount can be used or the funds can be used for any kind of violent protest or even for the terror. And Mr. K.K. Venugopal, who was appearing for the government or for the central government has said that the money or the donation of the electoral bonds would be received by only the political parties which are registered under the Representations of People's Act, and the political parties which are registered under the Representation of the People's Act could receive the donation through the electoral bond. So the keyword is the Representation of People's Act. And the political parties who have got or who have been polled less than 1% in the previous elections should not, they will not have or they cannot receive the donation through the electoral bond. So this is the explanation which has been given by Mr. K.K. Venugopal, who was appearing for the government in the Supreme Court against the electoral bonds, and making it very clear that the electoral bonds could not be misused because the registered parties under the Representation of People's Act could only receive the donation through the electoral bonds, and the political parties who have received less than 1% of the votes polled in the previous elections are not eligible to receive the donation through the electoral bonds. And these are the explanations given by Mr. K.K. Venugopal in the Supreme Court. And it said that the exchange, or it was, the Supreme Court was hearing to the misuse of the electoral, or it has raised concern in regards to the electoral bonds or misuse of funds which are being connected through the donation of the electoral bonds. This exchange or this hearing has taken place virtually because an application or petition was filed by the Association for Democratic Reforms, and it is represented by an advocate, Prashant Bhushan. And the petition was to say that, or the petitioner or the one who is representing the Association for Democratic Reforms, that is Prashant Bhushan advocate, has said that to put a stay to the sale of electoral bonds which are scheduled between April 1st and April 10th of 2021, because he has said that the elections are supposed to be taken place, or which are supposed to be held in 5 states across the country, and especially the major states, that is Tamil Nadu and West Bengal. So he is worried about the sale of the electoral bonds, and the petition has been filed by the advocate Prashant Bhushan in the Supreme Court to put a stay on to the sale of electoral bonds. And this electoral bond scheme, he says that it introduces anonymity in regards to the political donation to the various political parties. And there is another news which talks about the double mutant virus which is now found, and the Union Health Ministry on March 24, 2021 has said that there is an unique double mutant coronavirus variant which is found in India, and this is a combination of mutations which has not been seen anywhere else in India. So this is a peculiar and a unique double mutant coronavirus variant which is now found in India, and this is certainly a cause of concern and which has been raised by Union Health Ministry, and it has briefed the country about the kind of surge which is taking up in the country and various states in the country, especially Maharashtra and also Punjab. And the Union Health Ministry has said that still it has to be established that whether this double mutant coronavirus variant plays or has any role to play in the increased infections or making the COVID-19 more severe. And the Union Health Ministry has also said that there is a study which is going on by a consortium of 10 laboratories across the country, and that study is called as genome sequencing, and the consortium which is taking up or which is studying the samples, various virus samples for the genome sequencing, is called as, the consortium is called as Indian SARS-CoV-2 Consortium on genomics. So this is again a crucial information for prelims perspective of UPSC, that which among the following is incorrect in regards to the consortium of 10 laboratories across the country which is taking up the genome sequencing of sections of virus through the samples. It is called as Indian SARS-CoV-2 Consortium on Genomics, that is INSACOG. And the Indian SARS-CoV-2 Consortium on Genomics has revealed that there is a presence of two mutation, that is a unique double mutant coronavirus variant, and this is the variants which are the present now, which has been revealed by the Indian SARS-CoV-2 Consortium on Genomics, is E484Q and L452R, and these two together are found at least in 200 virus samples from Maharashtra, Delhi, Punjab and Gujarat, and that is the cause of concern that this double mutant can be a possibility that it could spread virus, and we are yet to ascertain. That means the INSACOG is yet to ascertain whether this would be infecting very virulent or spreading virulent across India, because already we have seen that at least in 200 virus samples in Maharashtra, Delhi, Punjab and Gujarat of the two mutations, and whether it would also reduce the vaccine efficacy is the cause of concern. And these two mutations have been individually identified in other variants of SARS-CoV-2 globally and have been associated in reduction in vaccine efficacy. Please do understand, they have been identified and they have been also associated in reduction in vaccine efficacy. But this is individually. What I am trying to explain, or we are getting into the analysis, is these two mutations individually have been identified globally and they have been associated in reduction in the vaccine efficacy, but the combined effect and biological implications have not yet been understood, or they have not yet been ascertained, and that is what is being now studied by the genome sequencing by taking various virus samples, and it is being studied through the Indian SARS-CoV-2 Consortium on Genomics. And so far only 3 global variants, that is variant of concerns, have been identified across the globe. They are called as the UK variant called as B.1.1.7 and the South African variant, that is B.1.351, and the Brazilian, which is called as P.1 lineage. And this is the information what we have for the analysis for the prelims perspective, about which is the consortium of 10 laboratories in the countries which are taking up the genome sequencing of the double mutant SARS-CoV-2 variant, which could be a cause of concern and which has been flagged off by the Union Health Ministry. And there is another news which talks about there is a mistake which has been done. And what is the mistake, and who is saying that, what kind of a mistake, who has done it? It is that Afghanistan is raising its concern that the Moscow conference which has taken up, which has excluded, has kept aside India to be part of the Moscow conference in Moscow by the Troika, that is by China, Russia and US, is a mistake, because it did not allow or did not take into consideration India to be part of the Moscow conference. And this has been raised by the Afghanistan Foreign Minister Hanif Atmar when he has been touring India for a 3-day visit, and he has said that India should have been included in the Troika, that is China, Russia and US Moscow conference, which it has allowed the regional stakeholders, that is along with China, Russia, US, or TRICO has allowed the regional stakeholders, that is Pakistan, Qatar, Afghan and Taliban leadership, but it did not, or it has excluded India from the Moscow talks, is a mistake. That is what it is emphasizing. Afghanistan is emphasizing, and the Afghanistan foreign minister has discussed a new peace plan which has been proposed by the Afghanistan president, that is Ashraf Ghani, and in turn the Afghanistan foreign minister Anif Atmar, while discussing a new peace plan, he has sought New Delhi's support for his or for its new peace plan. And the foreign minister of Afghanistan has told that US has promised to pull out the foreign troops later this year in the year 2021, and it has set the condition for the new peace plan. And it says that new peace plan would give the militants a legitimate way to participate in the polity and governance of Afghanistan only when there is a pullout of foreign troops, and this will be a condition for the new peace plan which is now in the mind, or which is the flagship program taken up as a new peace plan by the Afghanistan president Ashraf Ghani, that the militants will have a legitimate way to participate in the polity and the governance of Afghanistan. And he has also said that Afghanistan certainly appreciate India's position if it would engage with the Talibans, and if the Talibans come and join the legitimate polity and governance of Afghanistan. That means Afghanistan government or the president of Afghanistan Ashraf Ghani is very much concerned about India's presence in the talks, peace process which it would form between Afghanistan government and the Talibans, and it wanted India's role in Afghanistan reconciliation peace process. Please do understand. Now you can take this as the question for the mains examination. India's role in Afghanistan reconciliation peace process. Discuss. So this you can take it as mains, and then you can try and attempt to write an answer which you would certainly explore and enhance your writing skills for the mains examination. And this as part of the international relations and also the peace in the Central Asian countries or in the heart of Asia. That is regional stability. Regional stability in heart of Asia or Central Asia. Part of the subject or the topic for the regional stability in the heart of Asia or the Central Asia or the Afghan peace deal. You can take this as a question and try to write an answer. India's role in Afghanistan reconciliation process. And certainly this will be an important topic which we have analyzed for mains perspective. And I would wish that this session was an informative, knowledgeable and also very crucial for mains as well as prelims UPSC perspective. So I would say a very big thank you to all, good luck to you all, and then do maintain consistency, stick to your schedule and take care of your physical health and mental health. And do not forget to like the video, share the video and subscribe the AKS IAS English medium YouTube channel, and also have access to the website and telegram link of AKS IAS Academy. And then again see you tomorrow with the daily news analysis at AKS IAS Academy. And till then, thank you and then goodbye, take care.